combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. If you're brand new to Jimmy Rants, here's how it works, you guys. If you're watching this, obviously you're either watching me live on Instagram, you're watching on the replay on Instagram, you're watching on YouTube, or you're listening to the Jimmy Rants podcast. So it all starts on Instagram. Go to @LivinLowCarbMan. Follow me there on Instagram. You can watch these lives. We tend to do them in the morning and the afternoon every single day, Eastern Standard Time. So go listen and go watch and follow, and then you can commentate down there, which I'll talk to those people here in just a moment. You can also watch it for up to 24 hours on replay on Instagram. We also have all of the videos housed on YouTube, which is where a lot of you guys are watching these right now, is on YouTube. And then we have an all-new Jimmy Rants podcast that's just about ready to debut. So, today's Jimmy Rants episode is all about calories. So you talk to a lot of people, and I get a lot of commentators on my social media pages that say, dude, I wish you'd stop talking about this low-carb thing because it's just about cutting your calories, and if you just cut your calories, you can get into a calorie deficit and you burn off more calories than you eat, and therefore you lose weight and you get healthy. It sounds so logical, right? All of these people that talk about calories. And they also assume with calories that it's energy in, energy out, and there's no other, X factors that come into play. So, under the calorie hypothesis, here is a scenario that I want you to think about. You can eat 1,500 calories of steak with maybe a pat of butter on top, with some vegetables, maybe some melted cheese on top of the vegetables, and maybe an avocado, okay? Let's imagine that meal is 1,500 calories, okay? You eat that meal, and that will nourish your body, right? Because it's 1,500 calories, and that's probably a good amount of calories for the whole day. Now, let's take 1,500 calories, and let's have Lay's potato chips, Little Debbie snack cakes, jelly beans, candy bars, on and on. All the crappy, junky, sugary foods you could possibly think of. And make it up to 1,500 calories worth of that. So, under the calorie hypothesis, the first meal I described with the steak and vegetables, that would be considered exactly the same as the junk food meal that I described second. Does anybody actually believe those are equivalent? I mean, seriously, anybody. Raise your hand if you think those are exactly the same. Anybody with half a brain will tell you those two meals are not even close to being the same. Nutritionally, one has nutrient-dense foods that are actually nourishing your body, giving you a wide array of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates in the appropriate amounts in order for you to be healthy. The other one is basically all a sugar carb bomb. It's crappy garbage to the core. There's hardly any vegetables or hardly any good carbs that are in it, which would be the vegetables for the most part. There's no fat hardly in it, and if there is any fat, it's usually the crappy fat. And there's no protein hardly unless you eat like a Snicker bar, which might have some nominal protein from the peanuts. So to say that those two things are equivalent is silly. And yet we still have people that are calorie apologists out there that keep hammering away at this whole energy deficit thing, that the calories you consume versus the calories that you burn, and it's that deficit that causes weight loss and health gain. All right. It's time to shift away from calories. Calories has been shown to bomb horribly. People have tried cutting their calories. All they do is get hungry. They can only put up with that for just so long, and then their mind's about to explode, right? And so let's stop talking about calories and get to something that actually matters, and it gets to the heart of what you put in your mouth. And what is that? That's the hormonal effect of foods. So people don't even think about the hormonal effect of foods because they've been told it's all about the calories. And the calorie joke, which I'll call it here today, has gotten so bad that several years ago they started coming up, the food manufacturers, with these 100-calorie packs, which was the biggest, stupidest thing that's ever happened to the food industry besides cutting all the fat out of it and promoting that as healthy. 100-calorie packs are just, you look at most of them, they're all carbs. 100-calorie pack of Oreo cookies is all carbs just about. 100-calorie pack of Doritos, all carbs. And then the 100-calorie little miniature cans of Coca-Cola, have you guys seen those? It's a joke what they have done with this calorie hypothesis. But if we shift away from calories and onto hormones, how cool would it be to see foods being promoted for their hormonal effect, or lack thereof, on your body, right? So when you consume steak and vegetables with some butter, maybe a little bit of cheese and avocado, what's the hormonal effect? It's very minimal. And when I say hormonal effect, I'm specifically referring to, in this case, the insulin. And insulin is the master hormone, and it controls all the hormones in your body, which go into all the various things that function in your body. If insulin's out of whack, guess what? Everything else hormonally in the endocrine system in your body is all out of whack. If you want to get all geeky about the endocrine system and learning more about it, I did just write a book about that called Real Food Keto. If you want to check it out, realfoodketo.com. And we get into that very deeply in there. But for the purposes of this Jimmy Rants, I think the impact on insulin is so misunderstood and misrepresented by the people that push the calorie hypothesis. They want to say it's energy in, energy out. And I almost want to do a test where I eat 1,500 calories of steak and vegetables and cheese and avocado and butter, and then I eat separately another meal the next day of all that crappy garbage, and to track blood sugar, insulin levels, postprandial inflammation levels, all of these things that on the second meal would be much worse, because everybody still believes the stupid calories mean something. There's a great book out there I want you to pick up if you think calories still matter. It's called The Calorie Myth by Jonathan Baylor. Okay, it came out several years ago, hit the New York Times bestseller. It was a really good book, and I've known Jonathan for many years now. And he really dismantles the logicalness of still counting calories. How it's almost impossible, too, for these food companies to even know how many calories are in the foods. And they can be off by several hundred. And so it's not really reliable data, what you see on a packaging. And then you don't know how much of your body is actually burning calories. Don't go to the gym and walk on the treadmill and it shows you burn 600 calories. You can't always believe that either. So then you get back to this alternative view of calories, and it's the hormonal connection, specifically insulin. Then when you eat a food and the insulin response is bad, okay, you realize the, quote, calories in that food aren't necessarily good for you. You see what I'm going here? So it's less about calories. It's more about the hormonal impact. And if we start eating to our hormones, a lot less than trying to cut calories or to manipulate calories. You know what the calories hypothesis does? It allows people to eat more carbs than they would have. Because if people ate to their hormones, not one single time would they load their body up with carbohydrates, especially refined processed ones like grains and sugars and starches. They wouldn't do it because under the hormonal effect, the insulinogenic effect, carbohydrates will mess with it the worst. And so by default, they would cut their carbs. They would have to eat more fat to make up for those carbs, and they would be in a ketogenic state, right? And under the calorie hypothesis, oh, well, I only ate 1,500 calories today, therefore it's healthy. And I think the sooner we get rid of and shift away from the calories and onto the hormones is the sooner we collectively as a society will get healthier. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Thanks for being here. Hello, Lauren. Hello, guys. Hello, Sankitonio Mama. Thanks for being here. Hello, hello. All the people with half a brain you've just upset. Keto Neogenesis. Beth, it's the sad brain people that I want to reach. And people that just still believe. I had a guy berate me on Facebook just this morning. I had posted something about my fasting book on Kindle being at a really good discount on Amazon. And he's like, oh, you don't need to do that. You just need to this, this, and this. And if you do this, this, and this, you don't need a book. And you just need to cut your calories and blah, blah, blah. And so I was kind back to him. And then he came back and, oh, yeah, you're the one that really needs to cut your calories. And if you just cut your calories, you'd see this, this. And I'm just like, ugh, calories, Mallory's. Sankitonio Mama says, calories in, calories out just infuriates me. And it's unfortunate people still believe that. In the same way, they still believe saturated fat is harmful. They still believe that consuming salt will raise their blood pressure and give them heart attack. All of these things that are popular notions within our culture, it's going to take a little while to undo and unravel all of those beliefs. And definitely calories in, calories out is one of those things. 100-calorie packs are what my mom bought me when I was growing up. Yeah, a lot of us had those. And unfortunately, we fell for it because we were always under the auspice that calories mattered. Now, let me be very clear because people misrepresent what I believe about calories. Are calories completely irrelevant? No. But do you have to count them in order for them to count? And the answer to that is no, you do not have to count them. What you do is you allow your body, when you listen to the signals, especially satiety and hunger signals, when you listen to those and you eat appropriately for your body without gorging yourself, then you're going to have the exact amount of calories that you want to consume. There was a study done by Dr. Jeff Volek, one of the pioneers in ketogenic research, and he put people on a calorie-restricted low-fat diet that kept them right around like 1,800, 1,900 calories. And then he put people on a ketogenic diet and said, eat all the fat and protein that you want with limited carbohydrates. And what happened was the ketogenic group actually ended up eating exactly the same number of calories as the calorie restricted group, low-fat dieters, because of the satiation that they got from that way of eating. And so I think if you're listening to your body's signals that tells you when enough is enough to eat, and in Keto Clarity, my book Keto Clarity, we talked about eating to 80%. So Dr. Westman, my co-author on that book, he said in Asian cultures, that's very normal for parents to teach their kids to eat to 80%. So 80%, you're full, but you're not stuffed. And so if you get to that point where you're satisfied, you feel good with the food that you ate, then the calories are naturally controlled. Everybody thinks that if you still have obesity on your body, that you must be, way over consuming calories. I think it's a lot more complex than that. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this Jimmy Rants here today. Carol says, don't do that experiment with the low-carb, ketogenic steak and vegetables and then the high-carb. No, Carol, I'm the wrong person to do that with. But I'd love to see that studied in a metabolic ward where they put people on these two different caloric intakes that are exactly the same, two different kinds of foods, and see what happens. I think it would be eye-opening. But they know this stuff. This isn't revolutionary. Everybody knows it's not just about the calories, except for the general public. They're the only ones. My low-carb path, that would be an awesome comparison. I want to see that. I want to see it done. Keto healing coach, what do you say to people that find out you're doing keto, then say you can't do keto long-term because it's bad for you long-term? I feel like asking what's your data coming from on that. Yeah, for those people, I always go, oh, you mean eating real food? Seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, what are you talking about with keto? You're just eating real food. You know, nobody ever questions, oh my gosh, you're eating low fat. Don't you know you have fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K that need to be absorbed? And if you're not eating fat in your diet, how is that possibly healthy for you? Nobody ever does that to a low fat dieter. That's just one example of things we could say about low fat dieters. So why is keto being singled out like that? So yeah, sadly, you're going to have those people. You just smile and you keep being healthy. My body reacts to calories from carbs in a much different way than it does to fat and protein. Yes, Kat, that's exactly right. And it is. It's the hormonal effect that comes from eating those crappy carbs, as I call them, that matters the most. Hello, Kimberly. Thanks for being here. George says teaching people how to listen to their body for true hunger signals. That would be another good Jimmy rant. Yes, I like that, George. I will try to get on that here soon. In fact, let me take a screenshot so I don't forget to do that. Thank you for that. Kat says, if calories were the key to weight loss, obesity would have been cured a long time ago. The diet industry perpetuates that myth so they have return lifelong customers. And I'll even go one further. The food industry perpetuates that myth because you start seeing them say, I've seen on Coca-Cola machines. I don't know if you've seen these little stickers, but the stickers say something along the lines of, counting what matters, grab a Coke, and it's all about counting the calories. They don't want you to know that they're loading up their soda with sugar. They don't want you to know that, it's 170 calories for that can of Coca-Cola, that 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola. They don't want you to know it's basically all high fructose corn syrup that is going right to your damage your liver. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that it's going to spike your insulin levels. They don't want you to know. So they're going to be the ones kicking and screaming about keeping the calorie hypothesis going because they're the ones that have stood to benefit the most, and they have benefited the most, all under this auspice that cutting your calories has been healthy. And not once have they cared about what the insulinogenic effects are of the foods they're promoting. They're healthy because they're lower in calories and lower in fat. That's all they cared about. And sadly, because you have dimwits that still teach about nutrition in the form of dietitians, not all of them, but a lot of them are still teaching this whole lean meats, healthy whole grains, cut your calories, exercise till you drop. That's got to stop. And I think the sooner we end that, which is what a lot of us have been doing, we haven't paid attention to that in a very long time, and our health has benefited as a direct result. And so you got me in full-on Jimmy Rants mode here today, shifting away from the calorie hypothesis and now putting all the attention and the light on the hormonal effect that foods have on your body. The sooner we get to that is the sooner we will collectively as a society get healthier. All right, guys, that's it for this Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is where you can go to access all of the archives of the Jimmy Rants episodes. We're here live in the mornings and the afternoons on Instagram, so go follow me at Livin' Low Carb Man. You can watch for up to 24 hours on Instagram and then watch them forever on YouTube, and coming very soon. We're just waiting on iTunes to give us the go-ahead that it's been posted, but the all-new Jimmy Rants podcast is coming. Get ready. iTunes don't know what's about to hit them, but we're going to have a whole lot of really great content for you guys there. So until the next time, we'll see you then.